up a chair and let's chill. Let's party, let's talk and let's build. Yeah, alright, let's talk over drinks.
Alright. Welcome once again to another fun-filled episode of Talks Over Drinks. My name is Corey K. My partner, the God, Markel Prines. Hope everybody's doing well. We got a little bit of change too. We didn't even discuss this in the last show. Got new digs. We moved up in the world. Got some office space, right?
Right.
And I definitely want to say we got our first sponsor.
Absolutely.
First sponsor. So going forward, Talks Over Drinks is sponsored by the Law Office of Jacobie K. Whitley, Esquire. 2 locations, 217 West Broad Street, downtown Richmond, Virginia, or 1455 Pennsylvania Avenue Northwest, Suite 400, Washington, D.C., 20004. So we appreciate and thank the Law Office of Jacobie K. Whitley for giving us our new digs and thinking enough of us that they wanted to come in and sponsor. And I'm going to let you go ahead and give it the word or the thought of the day, something positive for folks.
Absolutely. So as usual, we're going to start off the show with a food for action quote. I had this pinned down for a few months now, and this is a great time to use it. It goes like this. Plan to be successful and prepare for the results. The good, the bad, and the ugly.
Good, bad, and ugly. So sometimes if it's bad or ugly, you have to go back to the drawing board.
Go back.
And you just got to keep redoing it. That sounds like Talks Over Drinks, sir.
That sounds like our
journey.
Man, we done been through some
a lot of stuff, man. Writing your business plan on a bar napkin at Fridays on the inside after they done got on your nerves at work. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We got 2 guests for this show. We're gonna, keep it clear and concise. We're gonna break to a commercial break, and we're gonna come back with our first sponsor, Attorney Jacobie K. Whitley. We are Talks Over Drinks. Still drinking water because I got a side on my hip right now. Cheers, folks.
Let's talk over drinks. Pull up a chair and let's chill. Let's party, let's talk and let's build. Yeah, alright, let's talk over drinks.
Talks Over Drinks, a new talk show where real people have real conversation about real issues like.
And I don't care how intelligent you are or lack thereof, you have to be able to communicate orally. And that's when people start to say, wow, they have some intellect to him or to her.
Music guests.
What do you think about what's going on in the industry nowadays?
Oh man, there's a lot of things I can say about it, but one of the most important things I can say for any independent artist or a major artist is it's set up for you to be like Prince.
I was in the club the other day. I played Beach Boys. I get around, and I mixed it in with Tupac. I get around. Club went crazy.
Comedians, politicians, community organizers. We gonna have a few laughs over a couple of drinks.
Talks Over Drinks. We can have a conversation. You can say what you think. I'm 40 plus and still rocking to this hip hop beat. Bring it live and direct right here from Broad Street. I pray that my lyrics do find you well, cause it's me, MSB, and a guy named Markel. The White J, son, you know he fan. Invite indie musicians coming straight slam. I got swerving beat sounds on the 1s and 2s, and together, united, we gon' bring it to you. All right, we're back. Talks Over Drinks. Corey K, my partner, the guy Markel Prines, and our new sponsor, Attorney Jacobie K. Whitley is in the house, man. What is good?
Man? Good, man.
It's good to see you
for a long time.
We done known each other for like 4 years.
Yeah, man.
This is where we met.
Yep.
We met at the Christmas party for the Hill Tucker Bar Association.
Yes, we did.
And that was just the year before you graduated.
Yes. I hadn't graduated law school yet.
Okay, so bring us up to speed. You got fresh gear.
Yeah.
You ready to do all that criminal justice reform on your own. Tell us a little bit about your practice, why you decided to hang up your own shingle and not go for work for somebody else.
Okay. Well, one, God is great. Let's just
amen.
Let's just do that one time real quick. But the first thing I remember you asking is why did I decide to hang up my own shingle?
Yes, sir.
And that's a simple answer. I believe in ownership.
Okay.
And I equate a law firm to owning a small business.
Okay.
Essentially, that's what it is.
Indeed.
And that's normally where a lot of lawyers mess up, because
Okay.
they don't run their practice like a business. Because they don't have that business acumen.
Okay.
But I'm all about ownership. And so I wanted to hang out my own shingle because I have hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of student debt, which y'all can have another whole segment about.
Honestly.
You gotta put that to
But
use.
I was like, why am I going to stand in line and fight everybody for this one position at this law firm when the person that owns that law firm decided one day to just start their own practice?
Indeed.
So why have out the knives when I could just start my own thing and just build from that?
Okay.
And so that was the reason I decided to hang my own shoe.
So in the time that we met at that Christmas party to now, and I've known you and we've kept in touch in
Which is hard to do with me.
That's so we've kept in touch, and you always had a plan. And like Markel is always saying in his own positive spin on things, there's always a plan. You know what I'm saying? Even though stuff got hard, you didn't stop your focus. So who did you meet in this area that kind of lent a hand back? You know, maybe some older brothers and sisters who are practicing that kind of lent their arm back to kind of pull you forward and bring you to where you stand now.
Absolutely. The first name on that list is Robert Walker. I have office space in his office, in his building.
Okay.
Full disclosure, Rob, I failed the bar exam 5 times before I passed it.
Okay.
And that entire time, Rob supported me through every failure. He never fired me. He still let me come to the office and work.
Okay.
And he couldn't pay me a lot, but those little checks like kept food in my stomach and stuff like that.
Okay, indeed.
So first and foremost, it would be Robert Walker.
Okay, shout out Robert Walker. Thank you for not giving up on this young man.
Angel Sharp,
Okay.
who's Rob's paralegal and office manager.
Okay.
She was always supportive. She always gave me some guidance and words of wisdom. And those are the people directly in the legal field. And of course, Rob's friends, Arnold Henderson comes to mind. There's a young lady that we have in common. She's an attorney. Stacey Lee and Doris Causey. Yes.
Okay.
They looked out. The Central Virginia Legal Aid Society.
Okay.
Which is down the street. A lot of people use them for free legal aid.
Okay.
I didn't have, before I went to law school, I went up and down Broad Street, handed out my resume.
Indeed.
And attorney Freddie Good at the Virginia Legal Aid Society gave me my first shot helping people with disability cases.
Wow.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So these are the people that help you build this foundation. So now you've passed the bar. Tell our viewers what type of law you practice. What are you practicing currently?
So I'm licensed in DC. So in DC, I'm doing criminal work, personal injury cases, predominantly. But I'm also going to do immigration and veteran claims, benefits, appeals.
Okay.
And those are federal things. Or federal, I guess they would fall in the federal bucket. So that allows me to be able to interview clients in Virginia and stuff like that, because the case will be tried in DC.
Understood. Okay.
So the Virginia rules, because I'm not practicing Virginia law, allows me to deal with those clients on that federal level.
Understood.
And it just so happens that those are 2 frontline issues for young attorneys.
Okay.
And that's something I want to disclose to the people, especially people that are vets and immigrants. As I speak on behalf of young attorneys, we are coming to help you.
Indeed.
Just want you to know.
Okay. So it's 2 shows in a row. We had the Second Amendment show that was going to be a big thing. Just your opinion or your experience thus far with immigration law. I know that my father came from Trinidad, and I know that growing up in New York, Brooklyn and Queens, where you have a large group of immigrant populations coming into the United States, I know a lot of people had difficulty trying to come in and do what they needed to do. In your experience, what's going on politically, how do you see you can help? Or what's your perspective on the situation at this point?
Number one, education.
Okay.
I can jump on podcasts.
Okay.
I can jump on my social media and just educate people. I have Instagram, the Dreaded ESQ is kind of like my legal Instagram.
Okay.
I posted a little video of a flyer that just outlined basic route to citizenship.
Okay.
Like you have a U.S. ancestor that's a citizen, something like that, like the basic stuff.
Right.
Like nothing complicated.
Okay.
It's a huge poster, and it's like 4 parts, moving lines going everywhere. It's super complex. There's so many moving parts.
Okay.
So it's just educating people, basically what forms you need to fill out. Because each country, first of all, people migrate to America for a plethora of reasons.
Understood.
It's not always asylum.
Okay.
There's work visas. So the visas go from like A to R.
Okay.
One thing that I was given an example of recently, the clergy. So if you have a nun or a priest and they're in another country and you would like to have them come over to the United States to help do some religious service,
Okay.
there's a visa for that.
Understood.
So there's so many reasons for people want to come to the United States. It's just educating them and letting them know what forms and the procedures you need to fill out to get you on your way.
So when you hear about these sensationalized cases, like there have been some cases in the news, somebody's been here for like 15 years and they just never did their paperwork, and then you got the ICE agents kicking their door down. I know that's kind of tugging at the heartstrings of people, but what could they have done in that period that they didn't apparently fill out some paperwork and then talk to an attorney? So what do you say?
That's the thing. That's the thing. If you're unsure about your citizenship status, seek an attorney. Find an immigration attorney.
Okay.
And give them your information. They're going to do an intake form on you. They're going to do their research in the databases. They're going to compare what that country requires in that the United States needs for you to become a citizen.
Okay.
They need to. It's not cookie cutter for every country.
Understood. Okay.
So that needs to get worked out, and that's what people need to do. They need to find an attorney first and foremost, and plead their situation to an attorney. Don't, out of fear, don't do anything. But that's the worst thing you can do in any situation.
Okay. And
sometimes those stories, whether they're true or not, there has to be some truth in the story. So it might not have been a 15-year stay, it might have been a 5.
Okay.
Right? But that stay, that overextension, staying in the United States as an illegal immigrant, there's a time window that you can do that before it interferes with your application to apply.
Okay.
So like, let's say you're here with a visa and that visa expires, but you don't go through the proper channels to renew that visa, and you just, I'm not worrying about it, nothing's happening, I'm fine. What can happen is you can then surpass the time that when you do try to apply legally, you can't. Because one of the questions will be, how long have you lived in the United States as not a citizen? Okay. And if you answer longer than that period, they're going to deny your application.
What would be somewhat of like a range, like 6 months after expiration or a year after?
Right. So I don't want to misquote, but I believe it's about 6 months. It's not that long.
Is it the same for each country, or is it different?
No. That number is a static number.
Understood.
Right? It's just as far as immigrants and how long they can stay if they're on an illegal status.
Okay.
Right? If they're not properly in the United States, if they're not citizens.
Okay.
How long you can stay in the United States as a non-citizen. But that's the thing with immigration. So immigration, most statutes, as you guys know, Constitution, federal government, state, right?
Right.
What a lot of people don't know, there's CFRs, codified federal regulations. Okay? And so agency-made law, essentially.
Understood.
A lot of immigration is agency-made law.
Okay.
So it's not like you just go to the Constitution and there's your Bill of Rights. I know my rights.
Right.
Or you just go to your state library and I'm just gonna pull up all the criminal code.
Right.
It's an
Whatever they
agency did a policy mandate over here that you may not know about. There's some case law over here, and that corresponds to a federal law over here.
Okay.
So it's so many moving parts.
Understood.
And the forms are so complex to fill out too.
Understood.
It's just, you need a lawyer or you need to contact an organization that has lawyers that can help you through the process.
Gotcha.
That's the number one thing.
Okay.
This is not a DIY situation.
Understood.
Right.
This is not what this is. And I think that's what a lot of people get in trouble with.
Okay.
Because it's that same ingenuity, right, that have gotten people to the doors of the United States. And it's also that same ingenuity that America is supposed to reward people. But if you go through the proper channel, we want ingenious people here to solve problems.
That's right. I
So
understand.
we want that critical thinking, but just not when it comes to filling out your paperwork.
All right. Well, any other last questions, Markel?
My question is for you as a young black male in the field of passing the bar. So you did take it a couple of times,
yes.
But I don't look at it as failures. Those were trials. Those were learning opportunities. So in my opinion, you probably know more than the person who actually took the bar one time, because you know, hey, you've seen it multiple times. The things that's on it, you've seen how it's been worded, and basically you have it more application in taking the test and knowing the answers.
I know random stuff.
So it definitely wasn't a failure in that case.
Indeed.
My question is more so for like the encouragement for young black males and females who want to get into the legal field. A lot of times we just talk about law enforcement, police officers and stuff like that, and there's a stigmatism behind being a police officer as a black individual. But when it comes to being a lawyer, there's somewhat of a stigmatism behind that too. We don't talk too much about the lawyers. A lot of people we respect the lawyer more than the police officer, of course, because that's one that's getting us out of trouble. But in your experience, is there a lot of African Americans that you know of that's pursuing being a lawyer, or what would you say to encourage young people to go into that field?
I would say the numbers growing. I would definitely say the numbers growing. I don't think we have saturated the legal market, right? By no means. And I think. I don't think this is controversial. This is my thoughts, and I think it's true. I think black women outperform black men in the field. So I think there should still be a push to help get black men in the field. Not to say that there shouldn't be a push to get all minorities into the field. I mean, we need inclusion and diversity. It's just that black women do dynamic in this field.
Okay.
I do see
They do dynamic.
Shout out Stacey Lee.
The last president of the ABA was a black woman. It just in my career, my dealings outstanding. Some of the highest level of advocacy, but however, receive some of the most criticism, and they have to prove themselves more. And I think that's what makes them so good.
Understood. That's deep.
Right.
Keep pushing through adversity.
Yes, yes. And as far as motivation, everybody should be a lawyer. If you're not a doctor, you should go to law school. I don't care if you're a mechanic, a politician, what have you.
Shout out next guest, Pete Wells, behind the camera.
Because there's no aspect of your life that the law doesn't affect.
Right.
So knowing the law would just make you a better person. And not everybody has to go to take the bar exam and to go into the courtroom. You can just have your JD, right, which is a doctorate level degree.
Okay.
Right? Just having that knowledge and just knowing how the pieces work. Right? I'm gonna leave out on this. Mitchell Doxey. Shout out Ryan, Shannon, and Mitch. They know what I'm talking about. Mitchell's my law school roommate. He was from Wayland, Michigan. Right? So it was a very homogeneous setting, right? Most of his family, chill, but great dude, right? And basically, we were roommates for 2 years. At the end of law school, I asked him, being my roommate and going through law school at the same time, and going through law school with me being your roommate, right? What's the number one thing that you got from law school? He said, I just wasn't aware of all the injustices that are out here in the world. And I wasn't aware of the obstacles people had to get through just to make it, right? Or some of the things, obstacles that other people got to go through that I don't, right? Because of different stuff. Okay. And I said, Mitch, that was crazy because I was aware of the injustices. I just understand more why they are.
Right. You've got a better understanding of why they are.
Why
right?
the injustices are.
Right? And this is why everybody should go to law school, just for the perspective of a lawyer. Just to gain that perspective. That alone is worth the money.
Okay.
I mean, to work out financial aid,
right?
But but yes, I'm telling you, because think about it. If everyone knew the law, how better we would be as a society.
Right.
I think for me, and one lawyer I had in my first divorce, he told me, and it was profound at the time, I didn't create your problem. Once he told me that, everything I've been through legally since then, I've always remembered that he told me, Corey, I didn't create your problem. You created your problem. I'm just here to help you the best I can. And sometimes helping the best I can doesn't mean you're going to get off scot-free.
Right.
It doesn't mean that, ladies and gentlemen. Sometimes you're going to have to ride that bus. You know what I'm saying? I've rode the bus several times.
Good, bad, and ugly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Good, bad, I've ridden the bus several times. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I'm happy. The day you came in and saw me, Jacobie and I passed ways last time in the state office building that I work in. And I happened to go to work early, and he was like, I didn't expect you to be here. And that's when he told me the great news that he passed the bar, that he was going to be hanging up his own shingle, and he had some space for us here at Talks Over Drinks. So I'm humbled. Your energy is outstanding.
Yeah, appreciate
And I know we'll talk off camera, but law school is probably the last thing I haven't done with my life. And now that my kids are older and I have a little bit more time on my hands, I think I'm going to be shortly taking that delve.
Absolutely.
So I will definitely be working with you in the future.
Absolutely.
Appreciate you coming.
No problem. And much success. And Talks Over Drinks forever.
All right. Jacobie K. Whitley, Esquire. You know what I'm saying? We're going to cut to a commercial real quick. We're going to have our next guest come on out. Corey Fauquier, Markel Bryans, Attorney Jacobie K. Whitley, Talks Over Drinks. Cheers.
Over drink. Pull up a chair and let's chill. Let's party, let's talk and let's build. Yeah, alright. Let's talk over drinks.
Alright, so we're back. Part 2 of Talks Over Drinks. Corey Fauquier, the guy Markel Bryans. And as I always say, anytime this is a Liberty edition of Talks Over Drinks, it's a special occasion. We have with us my brother Pete Wells, Libertarian candidate, House of Delegates, 71st District. He is running against Lamont Bagby.
No. Not Lamont. And of course, now that you bring it up, I can't remember my opponent's name. Probably because I don't see any advertisements for him.
He ain't relevant. Then.
Wait a minute.
Yeah. Not relevant.
And the reason I'm holding the sign up, ladies and gentlemen, because if you were in any of the other Talks Over Drinks, the whole reason Markel and I are here is because when I was the campaign manager for Carl Lozer, it was damn near impossible for libertarian candidates to get any type of positive press. So if you are a libertarian and somehow you come across this podcast, however far in the future it is, you always have the ability to come to Talks Over Drinks and discuss your platform, what got you here. So this is a very important time. Pete, I'm gonna let you take it away. Tell the people about you. How did you become a libertarian?
Oh, it's Jeff Bourne, by the way. But
Jeff
is the
Bourne, okay,
Jeff
you're
Bourne?
right,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
right.
So I've always been a libertarian. You don't become a libertarian, you realize you are a libertarian. I don't think
Realize you are a libertarian.
Your upbringing, your environment, whatever. You might have been raised in a family that tells you, or a community that tells you, you are a Democrat, you are a Republican. You might even be lucky enough to be in a community or family that says we are independent or we are green with libertarian. But that's what somebody told you were.
Right.
And that's might be what you call yourself for years. But then one day you realize you're not that. And then you become who you are. And
what was that one day for you? What day? What were you doing when you realized that was that one day?
When I was a kid, my family owned a business that state regulators pulled some shenanigans on us, and we had scientific testing to prove it. So, oh yeah, no, this sounds like a great time for this. You know,
Practice.
Get deep.
Cheers to you, sir.
Prost.
Markel.
Let's taste this beer. Never had before.
And say, yeah, I know Markel said he wasn't a big beer guy. I'm like,
It's light.
it should be light, kind of sweet, easy to drink.
Yeah,
if they did it right. And I'm big critique of Oktoberfest beer, so I'll tell you in a second.
This is good.
Prost. They did good. They did good.
Wow, it was good enough to pause the show for a second.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. So they did a good job making their Oktoberfest beer. That's
Shout out to Center of the Universe Brewing Company, Ashland, Virginia. We're going to be giving you a call very shortly.
Absolutely.
So yeah, the state broke their own rules.
Okay.
They weren't inspecting our business as often as they were supposed to.
Okay.
And one day they showed up 4 deep in a state sedan with camera equipment and everything, taking scientific samples of everything in the business. And we took our own samples of everything in the business and got differing results off the same items. And at one point they go up to my dad and they go, how what do you think your chances of opening back up are? And my dad goes, well, we've got a bunch of product up at the warehouse, and if we can sell that product, we'll be able to get a loan to make all these list of repairs or whatever. Because I mean, it was ridiculous stuff, like cover everything with fiberglass or plastic resins, and and we were doing things the old world way, and so to get up to their new codes that they just slid out on us, he said, if we can release that product and sell it, we'll be able to secure a loan to make the repairs, because they were slapping us with like $300,000 worth of repairs in the early 90s. Okay. So if you look at the rate of inflation, that's like $750,000 worth of repairs today.
Okay.
And the next day we got word that our product was condemned at the warehouse and had to be thrown through a wood chipper.
Wow.
Yeah, we couldn't even feed it to pigs. So a lot of food went in the landfill that day. So that's when I realized I've had enough with government regulations.
Okay.
There is a place for industry regulations, and industry should be able to regulate itself. Everybody goes, oh, you're a libertarian, you hate government regulations. I'm like, listen, those regulations make sense. You should serve clean, healthy food to people.
Okay.
But the way they go about it, the regulations don't protect you. You know the old joke that they make about libertarians. Ayn Rand, Rand Paul, and Paul Ryan go into a bar, and the bartender serves them tainted liquor, and they all die. The end, right? Like that's the joke. We hate regulations, so we're gonna go drink tainted liquor, or we're gonna live in a world where bartenders serve. Currently, those regulations exist all over the country.
Right.
People still serve tainted liquor, tainted food.
Right. You're right.
People still get sick.
Right.
Gross, disgusting things from every place, and we're regulated. People still get sick. Somebody brought up the administration is discussing deregulating beef production, and it's not deregulating. It's just shifting the enforcement of that regulation to an industry watchdog group instead of the USDA or FDA.
Right. Do you think that's going to be better, worse, or the same?
It'll probably end up being the same. I mean, there's always going to be some way to call someone to the carpet. You know, you don't just take it away. So, but we've rolled way off traffic. But so realizing that's what brought me to being a libertarian instead of the moderate Republican family I was raised in, which I don't even know how moderate Republican they are anymore.
Well, I tell this story. I became active with the Libertarian Party after Rob Sarvis and James Carr came to Virginia Union on an invitation from Reggie Ford, who was then the president of Richmond Crusade for Voters. The Richmond Crusade for Voters is the oldest voting rights organization in our Commonwealth. And Sandy Sanders, who was our legal correspondent, told Reggie he should invite Rob Sarvis, and it was during that forum that both my teenage sons at the time said, after everything was said and done, that Mr. Sarvis and Mr. Carr had the best answers and they wanted to meet them. And after I went around and started visiting some of the local libertarian groups, that's how I became an active member. And definitely, shout out the Libertarian Party of Virginia and our brothers and sisters to the south, the Libertarian Party in North Carolina. I have been active with in both states. Tell the viewers a little bit about your party platform, what you hope to bring to the Commonwealth in the event you do become elected.
Well, the Libertarian Party platform is primarily a civil rights-based platform. The libertarians meet on the internet are not necessarily preaching the platform. They're preaching, somebody's bumper stickers from 14 years ago. But it's a civil rights-based platform. My main push is criminal justice reform, ending police militarization, ending broken windows policing practices, fixing our prisons. Of course, decriminalizing and legalizing a lot of activities that people end up in prison for right now, because we're putting far too many people in prison. The state spends a lot of money taking care of people. So you go in and you're taxing a neighborhood, and then you sweep through that neighborhood and pick up 1 out of 3 young men in that neighborhood and lock them in prison, and then charge their moms higher taxes to pay for that imprisonment. And that's the double-edged sword of the system. No one's, the people paying for this imprisonment are the people whose, families are in there. Right. You're paying twice because you're missing that person's income and contribution to the family.
Understood.
And your property taxes and your state sales tax, now state income tax and state gas tax, and we can go on, all go up, because that's one of the bigger line items in the state budget is, taking care of inmates. And, well, if they're in there for a nonviolent marijuana offense, they shouldn't be in there. If they're in there, frankly, even for nonviolent cocaine or other drugs, they shouldn't be in there. They should be in rehab.
Okay.
And most of them probably don't even really need rehab. They just need like a 12-step program of some sort. You know, like that's, you know, usually it's a kid that made a mistake and then they end up getting swept up in the system. That's where we get the poverty trap.
Okay.
You know, once people get swept up in that system, they don't get out.
Okay.
It's, you know, like for every success story, there's 3 more people that never get out.
Okay.
You have a lot of people that overcame adversity, overcame their backgrounds and their situations, and bravo for them, but the state is still standing in the way of other people. And, you know, back to what I was saying earlier, regulations, same comes with these laws. People go, oh, well, you can't legalize that because it'll be crazy. People will be doing it. Well, people are doing it.
Right.
It's illegal.
Just
People are doing it.
doing it.
But now we've got, you know, the police showing up, kicking in your door, wrecking your entire house over a nickel bag. And, like, how is that better than if people just do it? Like, if the worst drugs you can think of were legalized tomorrow, would you do them? No. I wouldn't.
Right.
You wouldn't.
Right.
You know, like, no, people aren't lining up for that.
I think the thing is, and my spouse's mother-in-law was a heroin addict. I think when you have an addiction, it's something that the individual is going to do, regardless if it's right or wrong, if it's good or bad. They're going to do it,
Right.
and they have to be the ones that want to come to that 12-step program themselves. We can't. You know what I'm saying?
You can't
nudge them.
You can't push
into
somebody.
that.
You can't push somebody to heal.
Yeah.
You can't push somebody to act right.
Okay.
You have to show them what you have to show them what right is, and live by a good example. So the people around you see the good things coming to you, and the example you set, and they want to emulate that.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. No one's jumping in, but no one's jumping in line to become a junkie.
Right.
Yeah, no one says no one's
not
at
the 80s.
You know, no one's at a party and offered drugs and goes, well, I'm going to do this one time, and then I want to be stuck doing it every day for the rest of my life,
Right.
my now short life,
Right.
because it's so much fun. No, like, you know, it's something they try, and, you know, like, just big advice to any kids looking at a pile of drugs: don't do it in the morning. Don't do it in the morning. You know, like, kids are going to do dumb stuff, you know, like you got to let them go. But the law and regulations don't serve to prevent crime. They don't serve to prevent, you know, bad behavior. They serve to punish people after the fact. Mm-hmm. That's what they are. They are a framework that says, if you do this, we're going to show up at your house, kick in your door, handcuff your entire family face down on the front lawn. Anybody that follows my campaign's Facebook page saw when Richmond police went after my neighbors, and, you know, 10 officers, shields, body armor, back door or backyard, front yard, and my neighbor, his little brother, and his mom laying face down in the yard, handcuffed, until the cops realized, you know, all of a sudden we're all standing outside with our, you know, like good neighbors, you know, like, this is what's going on. Look at these cops, look at their cars, and, you know, we're good neighbors. You see that stuff, you record it, because you don't know when those body cameras are going to malfunction.
Right.
But so we're all out there recording.
What did they look to get? What were they coming for?
So they had a sealed warrant, which the cops didn't know what a sealed warrant was. I called my attorney while we were out there, and I'm like, you know, hey, Paul, what the hell is a sealed warrant? Like, I'm pretty sure you have to open the warrant and show it to the people that live in the house that you're about to run through like a hurricane. You know, like, that's pretty sure how the whole, like, you know, Fourth Amendment freaking works, right? But they claimed because their warrant was sealed, they didn't have to let anyone know what they were looking for. But basically, a sealed warrant breaks down to, they can't tell you why they got the warrant, but they still have to show you the warrant and show you what they're looking for in your house. The why is a sealed warrant comes from a snitch. So we just got a new chief of police in Richmond, and he is focusing. They made a statement about, you know, like, oh, right after becoming chief of police, we just had like a spate of like 6 murders, like or shootings or something in a very short period of time. Very tragic. But the new chief decides we're going to go back to broken windows policing. We're going to go hard on minor drug users and force them to turn in other minor drug users. It's the long-standing tactic in the war on drugs is to shake down some kid with a nickel bag and tell
Go
him,
up the tree.
if you give us somebody else, if you give us the guy that sold you the nickel bag, if you give us somebody that has, a dime bag, we will let you off. And then they shake down the next guy, and they're going after the dealer. Like they're going to get El Chapo this way or something, right?
So let me ask you this. Did they find what they were looking for, or was it just they were searching, they didn't find anything, and then it was a release?
For the sake of ongoing legal situation for that family, let's just say they didn't find what they were looking for,
Okay.
but they found they found enough to get my neighbors into the system.
Right.
They're looking for that Super Troopers pile of marijuana bales. That's what they're looking for.
Right.
They're looking for something that'll look great on the Richmond Police's Facebook page, because we all. I don't know why cops do this anymore. You see the cops, they get that, and they're like, "Yeah, we pulled this, we pulled this guy over, and this is his big pile of contraband." And you see like a stack of like $5 bills and a fistful of change, one little bud, a joint, and a lighter, and they're like, "Yeah, look at all these drugs and like cash we took off the street from this evil stoner driving to work," and. So they're all looking for that big headline, 10,000 likes picture on their social media. And I don't know why cops still do it, because for the last 10 years, we have just been clowning them hard. Like you go to the comment section, it's just a million people going like, "Way to go, hero."
So my wife is famous for the comment section, and she's like, "What are people really thinking?"
Right. I go there all the time myself.
I have to ask you, and this is something that happened that I think did not get enough shine. You ran for office before. The State Board of Elections challenged, I guess, some of your signatures, because as libertarians, we have to get ballot petition signatures asking the people in our district if we can run on the ballot. They threw out a bunch of your signatures that were valid, and a group of libertarians combed through the signatures, and basically you were the first candidate to go back against the State Board of Elections and show that they had made an error, and you did indeed have enough ballot petition signatures to make the ballot. So can you tell our viewers about that?
Oh God, yeah, no, that was like an episode of bad TV, and the most boring TV drama ever, because it's like political ballot access drama. It's not Law and Order or anything fun.
Okay.
So we turned in over 1,600 signatures. The requirement is 1,000 valid signatures. I was running for 4th Congressional District against Congressman McEachin.
Okay.
So to get on the ballot, I have to have 1,000 valid signatures from voters in the 4th.
Okay.
Big problem. I circulated a lot in my neighborhood, where a lot of fellas have felony convictions and didn't get their rights restored when T-Mac did his mass restoration.
Okay.
Or they didn't realize there was a little form. You have to actually go back and register to vote.
Okay.
Like when the governor restores your voting rights, you still have to fill out a voter registration card. It's not instantaneous.
Okay.
Quick platform piece. I want to make it instantaneous. I want to make it when you go to the DMV and get your ID or driver's license, you are automatically registered to vote.
Okay.
Like that way, everybody that's got a valid ID is registered to vote. If we're going to have voter ID laws, let's make them useful.
Understood. Okay.
So, but they the Richmond Registrar's office, and there are some good people working there. I don't want to make this sound really bad to the front desk people that I deal with when I go to the Richmond Registrar's office, but somewhere in there are people that drag their feet on counts and verifications and can't read what is otherwise very legible handwriting. So they go, illegible, doesn't count.
Okay.
They didn't put the date, and this was the funny part. They didn't put the year on the date. You know, when you fill out a date, you're just like, May 31st. I mean, it's 2018, 2019. You know what year it is. So they weren't putting the dates. So they threw out everything where somebody didn't put the year on the signature line. On the signature line. So when you put your year down, they threw out everybody whose address changed from the voter registration. Well,
even though the address was still in the district.
Still in the district.
Okay.
Yep. So like if you lived in Church Hill, and then you moved to Northside, you still live in the 4th district. You are still a registered voter, but your ID says Northside. Your address says Church Hill on your voter registration.
Okay.
And you're still legally able to vote in the 4th district.
Okay.
You know, like that's, you know, your precinct might be messed up, but you know, like you can't vote for like a city council race for Church Hill if you're living in Northside, but you're still in the 4th district. It's kind of like if you're during a presidential election, if you're registered to vote in the military or whatever, you can go to a local polling place and just vote for president. Like you just can't vote for any down ticket races, and they have special ballots for just whatever races you're eligible to vote for.
Right.
That's an experience I had in the military, but there was the date issue. There was people that weren't registered in the correct address. There was illegible, and a lot of folks that thought they were legally registered to vote that weren't. And like there's a lot of misinformation, or not misinformation, miscommunication, misunderstanding, I should say. Okay. People don't know much about voting. Like nothing like running for office to show you how much the people don't actually understand about the political process.
Understood.
Like it's been really eye-opening 2 years in a row of running for office because there's no way I was going to reach every voter in the district in 1 year, and I'm not going to reach them this year, and I'm just going to keep running until I do.
Okay.
I'm good.
So with regard to that, they were telling you at first you were not on the ballot, but as you had a group of Libertarian volunteers that went back through everything, you did successfully.
So we combed through 350 signatures. We made submissions, and we got, one of them was the Notary Public used an embossed stamp instead of an ink stamp.
Correct.
And they're like, well, it has to be photographically reproducible, as in you can Xerox it. And the registrar's office says, well, this isn't. And our notary who was using that stamp went to the deputy commissioner of notaries, or whatever the job title is, with their stamp, and they made like dozens of embossings of that stamp on a piece of paper, Xeroxed it on like every machine in the office, and then that government official signed an affidavit saying, yo, you're dumb. Basically, like it was basically, it's obviously reproducible, and they just signed like a big, like you're being dumb thing, and handed it to us to submit for, one of our exhibits. So we end up with this hearing with the department, with the Board of Elections, which oversees the Department of Elections. And even though we submitted all of this information, all these people, we paid to get the voter registration information. Like it cost the Libertarian Party of Virginia money to get this information. They don't just hand it out. And when we're combing through this stuff, we find all this. We only got through half of the rejected signatures because it's just a time issue. Right. And it's on an Excel spreadsheet. It's not. How good of a spreadsheet are you working with when you're using Excel to track 2 million people?
Bad. That's bad.
Wow. That's I've gotten some Excel documents. Once you get past like 60 lines, you're just like, this is falling apart. You accidentally click something and it reorders everything, and you're like, how many times do I have to hit undo before I'm not accidentally erasing people at the bottom of the list? So it's a poorly managed database. We go through all that, and we have the hearing, and they're like, okay, so we're at 900 and whatever. I needed like 75 valid, and taking this affidavit regarding the notary stamp, we're up to this many now, and taking this thing regarding another issue, we are now 13 signatures shy of 1,000. Because all of our work, they basically just poo-pooed it. Like when we tracked down people's voter registration, they ignored all of that. Because we're just like, line 4,712, this person, this address, still in the district. This person, obviously legible. And because we can tell, so you should be able to tell. Like, they ignored all of the work our volunteers did for the most part. And it came down to a ruling on whether or not the ones that were rejected for not having the year were valid. And of course, because they got rejected immediately, they never checked the voter registration. So this turns into a bad TV drama, right? Like, this is ridiculous. There's like 16 signatures, and I need 13 to get on the ballot. And we go to a recess. And one of my people hears one of their people really upset on the phone to someone outside during recess, where he's like, I can't believe it. He's actually going to make it. Like, he was mad that I was going to make the ballot after all their hard work to keep me off.
Well, I have a question about, like, with the Libertarian Party as a whole and all the challenges that you guys have to get on the ballot. Just first and foremost, I know from experience with Corey, having to go out and get signatures to be on the ballot and how stressful that can be. I know Democrats and Republicans, they don't have to go through the same challenges as you guys. So to resolve that, really, what would have helped would have been a more wide range notoriety for the Libertarian Party, so that the 1,600 signatures would have been, let's say, 5,000. More people would have wanted to sign and be in.
Well, and if you flood them, and that's the idea is, like, if we can get 1,000 signatures turned in February, that lets us know, because you have until primary day, from New Year's Day, or well, January 2nd, really, until primary day to get your signatures in. And if our ground game was better, if our brand recognition was higher, this is the problem with drinking beer and talking. So if we had the better ground game, and this is, for everybody, I live in Richmond. Richmond is a Democrat city, so I see the Richmond Democrats out there working. Yeah. If we had a fourth of their ground game, so anybody that wants to get active in third-party politics, message my Facebook, my campaign Facebook.
What's your campaign Facebook?
It's this right here without the .org. It's just Facebook, Pete Wells for Liberty. Message me on my campaign's Facebook. Message the Libertarian Party of Richmond, Virginia, their Facebook page, because both of it goes to my inbox. I'm currently the chair of the Libertarian Party affiliate in Richmond.
All right.
And we will set you up with something you can do to help out. I'm working with some people in the Libertarian Party on the state and national levels to come up with some volunteer positions. People want recognition for what they do. And being a poor party, you're not getting a fancy plaque, you're not getting, we don't even have free t-shirts, right? But a title is the best I can come up with, and that is precinct captain. And this is my big, if you don't know anyone at your voting precinct, because I never believed it before, but I saw it last year on election day, people actually don't know who they're voting for when they show up. I thought that was a myth.
That's really what's happening.
Yeah.
I stood out front with my flyers and my big vinyl banner, and I'm just like, hi, I'm Pete Wells. I'm running for Congress. This is my neighborhood. I vote here. Like I was here at 6 a.m. voting for myself, which was one of the best feelings of my life,
Right.
honestly.
Your name or
Like
something.
yeah, you know, you
I
got to
do
vote
it.
for
Yup.
yourself when you ran in that special election. I voted for you when you ran in that special election, and it is a great experience. Like I never thought that some poor farm country boy from Wisconsin was going to end up running for Congress. Like I'm not from a wealthy political family. I'm not tied to any political machine, because you see how the other parties work and how you get to run for office.
Right.
Because you gotta staff for this people, staff for that people, get a job working at some
Know
government
somebody that
agency.
knows somebody.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you gotta know somebody who knows somebody, and then you wait your turn, and you just keep waiting your turn. But for anybody that wants to get in on grassroots political activism, we're here for you. We've got plenty of opportunities. All you have to do is agree to the bulk of our platform. There are plenty of people in our party that don't agree with 100%, but if you can agree with 75% of our platform, you're more likely more libertarian than you are a Democrat or a Republican.
Oh, right.
And
that kind of brings me to like a little closing question. What's some of the most attractive aspects of being a libertarian? Why would, I know you said like this town is mostly Democrat. What would be most attractive to those people that would be more so leaning Democrat or Republican to come to vote for a libertarian? What's some of your best views?
In Richmond, the Democrat Party has to behave according to the will of the state Democrat Party and the federal Democrat Party. So they have to toe the line on a lot of issues that your average person in Richmond doesn't care about, doesn't want,
Doesn't
agree with. And the Libertarian Party offers a different version of civil liberties. Like we are civil libertarians. We're all big fans of the ACLU and the work that they do. Like you're not going to get this version of civil liberties as long as you do exactly what the Democrats tell you to do. Because the Democrats' idea of taking care of folks is to put them on a reservation, so to speak. Like they're gonna get you. They're gonna educate you the way they want you educated. Right. They're gonna put you in the housing they want you to be in.
Right.
And they're gonna put you in the prisons that they want you to go to. Like that's the end result of their layers of regulation and law enforcement. They can go out there to every rally and chant in the street next to all of the local folks who are being hurt by broken windows policing and police militarization. They can go out there and say all these things, but when it comes time, their officers in office still vote to support those policies. One of the things my opponent voted for was basically a law to make it a hate crime to kill a cop. There's a bill that went through Virginia's House of Delegates that puts extra special penalties for committing murder against a police officer or a police officer's canine. Like you can go to prison a lot longer for dog murder than you can for murdering a civilian human. This murder's bad, duh. But that's crazy. I don't believe in creating a special class of people just because of your job. There are people that do special work, and I appreciate what police and armed security do when they are keeping us safe. But when they are acting as armed revenue collection agencies for the government, I don't appreciate it. When they're running around enforcing laws against victimless crimes, I don't appreciate it. And that's the difference. That's what the Libertarian Party has to offer, is a consistent vision on civil liberties and the belief that you own yourself. Other parties saying, like, you get the government is going to give you these things. They think the government gives you rights. The government gives you the right to get married. No, you have a right to get married. You and your lover and your lover's lovers, whatever. Y'all have the right to get together before your friends and family and your God and say,
This is what
we love
gonna
each
do.
other and we're going to take care of each other, and you have the right to get married. And because the government confers special benefits to people in that status, they have to say, okay, we're going to recognize yours the same as we recognize theirs. And that's all the government's job is, to make sure everyone gets equal treatment under the law. But they come at you and they go, well, we granted you the right to do this. No. I had the right. Y'all were preventing me from opening my business, from getting from getting a license to do this or that because I didn't check all your boxes the way you want them checked. Y'all were standing in my way. You didn't give me the right to do it. You got the hell out the way, because being a sentient human being, you have that right.
Well, Pete, appreciate you coming on. I know you had a long night.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hold up the sign, Libertarian Party of Virginia. You can get with Pete, Google us, figure out, what I'm saying, which is a different perspective. Definitely appreciate you coming out. Wish you luck. We're gonna try to get this on the air before Election Day so that people can learn a little bit about you. My name is Corey Folkenye, the guy Markel Prines, Oktoberfest, Center of the Universe. This is a shameless plug, ladies and gentlemen.
Very shameless.
Center of the Universe Brewing Company. Jacobie shaking his head behind the camera. We know how to give him a call. We coming anyway. We are Talks Over Drinks.
Prost.
Cheers. Yes, sir. That's a wrap.
Alright, let's talk over drink.
Talks over drinks. Talks over drinks. We can have a conversation. You can say what you think. I'm 40 plus and still rocking to this hip hop beat. Bring it live and direct right here from Broad Street. I pray that my lyrics do find you well, cause it's me, MSB, and a guy named Markel. The White Jason, he fan. Invite indie musicians coming straight slam. I got swerving beat sounds on the ones and twos, and together, united, we gon' bring it to you. We the RVA Rap Pack crew. So take your pick, Comcast or YouTube. No disrespect, I don't mean to be rude, but these other talk shows can't do what we do. I stay with the lyrics, some call me Dread Dude. Difference of opinion should not be called sin. Tell the truth, yo Dread, where you been? Invest a few minutes, I hope you tune in, yo. Politics, economics, education. These are topics across the whole entire nation. Keep it 100, we gon' talk about them, yo. Bring your kids, tell your mama and a friend, yo, it's Toast Over Drinks. Toast Over Drinks. We can have a conversation. You can say what you think.
Let's talk over drink. Pull up a chair and let's chill. Let's party, let's talk and let's build. Alright, let's talk over drink. We over here keeping it real, saying exactly how we feel. Come on, let's talk over drink. Pull up a chair and let's chill. Let's party, let's talk and let's build. Alright, let's talk over drink.